क्रिकेट क्रॉनिकल्स और चंद्रेश में आप सबका फिर एक बार स्वागत है। आज और एक खिलाड़ी के साथ हम मुलाकात कर रहे हैं और ये बहुत ही महत्वपूर्ण खिलाड़ी है, बहुत ही बढ़िया खिलाड़ी है। चलिए शुरू करते हैं। And there he is, our man of the moment, Chris Morris, former South Africa all-rounder, and he's played a number of years in the IPL, and the only man in South Africa who understands India's tax system. Welcome to the chat, Maury. How are you doing?
Fine, Chandresh. How are you doing? It's good to be here. Thank you for having me on.
So, Maury, is it fair to say that you're probably the only person in South Africa who understands how India's tax system works? Because you've had to pay, you've had to understand it much better than anybody else over the years.
Well, I think there are a few guys that were ahead of me in terms of knowing that, but yeah, it was a good few years in the IPL financially. So yeah, that tax system. One thing I can tell is it works very well.
So when you look back, what do you think was it about you that IPL auctions meant such a big day for you personally? Is it the fact that you were an all-round cricketer? Is it the fact that you were this rare commodity where you were a bowler who could bowl at the death? Or is it the fact that you could hit big? What was it about you that attracted IPL franchises?
Look, I think first of all you got to say I was quite lucky in terms of the timing. There was probably if you look at in the teams that I played for, there was probably a need for an all-rounder, a gap, a guy that can bowl at the death and with a new ball and potentially could hit it at the end, as you mentioned. But I literally put it down to luck and just the right timing, right place at the right time. I like to think that I do add a little bit off the field in terms of in the change room and in the team, and I do believe that I bring a different type of energy to a change room. So that helped. That did help in my case. But look, in terms of on the skill, look, an all rounder is always a rare commodity, and it's also a wanted commodity because it just fills two gaps. Specifically, if you can finish a game off and you can bowl it to death, as you mentioned. So, if you look at the all rounders throughout history, they have been. It's like a quarterback in NFL, and I'm not saying I'm a quarterback, but they're the most important person in the team, the quarterback, because they fill a position and they lead the position. So, if you look at a quarterback in the NFL, they get paid the most because they're important, and all rounders, I do believe, are very similar because they provide so much more. They can give you one, two, or three options in terms of your fielding as well. So, look, it's just a case of I was like I say, the right place at the right time, found form at the right time, and yeah, just very fortunate to have had the opportunity first of all to play in the IPL, but to do it 8 seasons was pretty cool. But also to do it where teams have wanted me was quite nice, and it was a very humbling experience. I'll be honest with you. If you look at the teams that I played for, those are big teams. So to have an opportunity to represent them, to play for their franchise, represent the city that I was playing for was quite cool, and I'll never ever take it for granted because it was a hell of an experience.
We've seen this season Pat Cummins and Mitchell Stark going for high prizes. They've basically snatched that title from you of being the highest paid player in the history of the IPL. Does that title bring a lot of pressure on someone like you?
Look, I've always felt the pressure of a price tag was always off the field. It was never on the field because it doesn't matter. I've mentioned this plenty of times in interviews. It doesn't matter what you paid in the IPL in terms of your performance on the field. At the end of the day, if you paid the least or you paid the most, you've still got to go out there and perform. So I always felt playing pressure was more than financial pressure because you want to perform. Doesn't matter what your paycheck is. So I felt that those pressures came more off the field than anything. You've always, you've got the people talking about the price tag, and then they'll add on the financial pressure. But once you get on the cricket field, you're just playing cricket, and it doesn't matter, like I say, what you paid or what the person you're playing against paid. Is that you need to beat them. So I always felt that on the field it didn't really matter what I was paid. I needed to perform. So the added tag, the added. I'll be honest, it became a little bit of an irritation towards the end where you keep getting reminded that you're the highest paid player, because at the end of the day, I'm just a cricket player. And, you don't walk into a into an office and you keep reminding the highest paid employee of in the business that, oh, don't forget you're the highest paid. So it became a bit of a frustration, irritation, but that comes with the territory, and you just accept it and you move on and you laugh it off. So it was all good. But like I said, cricket performance has never ever changed in terms of pressure, because that pressure will always be there as a cricketer.
So I just wanted to go through your franchises. The first time you got picked by Chennai,
Mm.
where were you when that auction happened, and were you following the auction, because you went 31 times above the auction price, and that's a big thing. Auction day is a big day for any prospective cricketer trying to make it to the IPL.
Yeah, I mean, look, that's the perfect example of right place, right time. We had the Champions League a couple of months before in South Africa, where myself and Dirk Nannes bowled really well against Chennai, in that we beat Chennai in Cape Town, and myself and Dirk bowled really well. I managed to smack a few sixes at the end there to get us across the line with a guy called John Syme. So we played really well and just performed against a team that needed two fast bowlers and an all-rounder for the upcoming auction. So like I say, timing was perfect, and it just, the stars aligned for that auction. But I was in a place called Kimberley. If anyone knows anyone knows South Africa, it's a very, very small town where they discovered diamonds, and there's not much to do in Kimberley, respectfully. So, yeah, I was playing a 4-day game. It was aiming out to be a boring draw, because it just was a flat wicket. So I remember I wasn't really watching the auction. I was following it a little bit on my phone, and yeah, it was quite funny, because, like I say, we were watching a guy called Stephen Cook batting out a draw for us at the Lions at the time. We were batting out a draw, and we were sitting in Kimberley watching it happen. And there was a storm on its way, so the game was going to get called off at some stage anyway. So saw the auction happening, and I saw a guy on Farfee's Roof not get bought, and I thought, flip, he's playing international cricket. You know, I haven't played for South Africa, and this guy's not being bought, and he plays for Sri Lanka week in, week out. So if he's not being bought, I got no chance. And then I saw the first bid from Chennai, and then it started going up, and then it started going up, and started going up, and eventually I just kept quiet, because I couldn't believe what was happening in front of me. It was a case of, actually, like, is this really happening? Like, I can't believe that. First of all, obviously financial side's crazy, but first of all these teams want me. That was the biggest thing. So, but once the Gava left, it was quite cool. The change went crazy. Stephen Cook at the right time had left a ball outside off, and the change room exploded. So everybody wanted to know what was going on. But no, it was a very emotional period. It was. I'll never forget. I phoned my girlfriend, who's now my wife at the time. Shed a tear or two. Phoned my parents, and just the pure joy of the realization of the fact that I was going to the IPL was massive for me. So it was really cool, and an experience I'll never forget.
And that first year of IPL, was it everything that you imagined it to be or had seen on television?
It was chaos, man. That's all I can tell you. I mean, flying, myself and Albie Morkel, we flew after the first game of the IPL. Chennai had lost to Mumbai, and we flew out because we still had a domestic final that we had to play against each other, which was quite cool. But we flew out, and then getting to Chennai was just, I mean, we flew from South Africa via Ethiopia, via Addis Ababa, which was an experience in itself. And then from there, we flew to Delhi. From Delhi, we flew to Chandigarh. So it was a hell of an experience in terms of my first IPL, in terms of traveling to get to the team. And walked into the hotel, got into my room, and there was just a bag full of cricket kit or clothing, which is, as a young cricketer, is like the one thing that you want. You want all the playing kit possible. So that was a cool experience. My cricket kit, my Kookaburra stuff was waiting for me, which was cool. But walking into the actual, I went to the physio room, because what they do is you get to the physio room, and either you take a bit of rest, or they stretch you straight away and then get your body limber after a flight, and then you go just have a relaxing evening in the room. So walking into that room, it was MS Dhoni, Suresh Raina, and Mike Hussey. And as a young cricketer, you look at that and you go, I've played against you guys, but I'm too scared to talk to you, because you guys are all legends of the game. So that was very cool, and how humbling they were and how welcoming they were was very cool. But the chaos around the IPL and playing for a team like Chennai is real. There's an expectation when you arrive for CSK that you're expected to win, and you're expected to win a trophy. That's simple as that. And you've got the team to do it. You've got the history to do it. So that's expected. So there is that pressure of being in a big team. But as far as being a young cricketer at the time, enjoying the IPL, it was just unbelievable experience. You've got the best cricketers that have played the game before, from the past, all in one place, and you've got the current world's best players all in one place. So as a young up and coming cricketer who was in cricket Nuffy, which people will know I'm a bit of a badger. was awesome. Just taking everything in. It's just I used to sit in corners and just listen to people talking. Like, I cannot believe I'm actually watching these guys, and they actually know my name, which is cool. So it was a great experience. As a young cricketer, there's nothing more than you want just to experience. And I always encourage young cricketers just to, if they have the opportunity to go to the IPL, go. Put your name in the auction. I think everybody's trying to. A lot of emphasis gets put on the financial side of the IPL, but for me, it originally was, and there's a reason why my base price was always so low, is because I just wanted to be here. It's simple as that. The money for me was eventually became irrelevant. I just wanted to be part of the IPL because that's exactly what you want to do as a young cricketer. You want to be where the best is, and this is the best.
And you have this curious relationship with injuries, and that you there's not an ounce of fat on your body, and you are probably the leanest individual that I know of, and you have this curious relationship with injuries. What is it? Have you got your horoscope checked out? What is it about you and injuries?
Oh man, cheapers! I tell you, injuries are obviously a reality of sport, and they always find a way to be the worst timing possible. Yeah, it was just the case of it just happens, that you push yourself as hard as you can day in, day out as a potential. I was never one that got into the gym. I was always a big fan of bowling more than actually training in the gym, and probably the reality was is it needed to be more work in the gym than actual cricket, but it's one of those things. It's just we play a professional sport, and you look around the world, and as soon as a player gets going, he pulls up an injury, and everybody's asking questions. And the reality is, if we had answers to those questions, I would have played a lot more cricket. But yeah, can't tell you why. But unfortunately, like I said, these things happen in sport, and it's not like I ever wanted to get injured. I promise you, I hated being injured. I always wanted to be on the field and give my best, and that's one thing I did do. I pushed my body as hard as I can for as long as I could. But the reality is if an injury comes and it just knocks you back, and if you're an injured player going into a team and you're not giving your best and you're not giving 100%, you're actually letting your team down. So yeah, it was an unfortunate part of my career, which, trust me, I think about it all the time about if I didn't get injured at certain times in my career, what would have happened. But yeah, what can you do? Is what it is.
And I was watching one of your old interviews where you said that when you got picked at one of the auctions, you were wondering what does this crore mean. You had to learn a few things along the way, haven't you?
I still don't know what a crore is. A lakh and a crore. I know a lakh is 100,000 rupees, I think. But
Yes, yes, yes.
a crore and all of that. No, we just crack on and just say thank you.
So you injured and come back. You come back to Rajasthan in 2015. That particular year, how would you look back at that particular season, 2015?
2015 was probably one of my most enjoyable. I'll be honest. I played for Chennai in 2013, and I was forced to have an ankle operation. Every fast bowler will tell you the impingement in the front foot when you're landing. It's an injury that a lot of fast bowlers get. I think AB de Villiers has even had the operation, and when he decided he wanted to bowl. So yeah, it's one of those things that it was a long. I was playing for South Africa throughout the season, and then it was a long 4-day competition going into the end of 2013, 2014, and I remember, end of 2014, and I remember the auction was coming up, and I'd made the decision that I couldn't because I just couldn't anymore. It was I'm a big believer if an injury is waking you up at night, then there's something really wrong. If you've got aches and pains, you crack on. But if it's waking you up, then something's wrong, and that's exactly what my ankle was doing. I could not sleep. I couldn't find a comfortable position. It was just unbearable anymore, and eventually made the decision to have the operation. So 2014 was a tough one because I had to watch the IPL from home, but the silver lining is that it allowed me the time to get married, which is a great time in my life. So you look at that all, and it all worked out pretty well. But 2015, coming back into the auction, and yeah, just wanted to be part of wanted to be part of the IPL, and luckily enough, Rajasthan picked me up. And like I say, we almost flew under the radar a little bit. Rajasthan Royals there. We had a seriously good team, a seriously young and talented team. We had some experienced heads in there, but we had a lot of youngsters. And like I say, it was one of my most enjoyable IPLs because I just had absolute fun. We played some good cricket. We had some really, really tight games that could have gone either way. But for that team to get to the playoffs as we did that year was a great experience. And yeah, like I say, there was it was some of the guys who were playing with me there who have turned out to be some of the greatest to ever do it. So, but it was a really cool year.
So, having played with RR and with Rahul Dravid and Paddy Upton and so on and so forth, the transition to Delhi Daredevils, as it was known then, would have been easy for you in that sense.
Yeah, it was. It was quite a nice transfer, if you want to call it that. Obviously, with Rajasthan, unfortunately, having to do their 2-year ban, the coaching staff moved across to the Delhi Daredevils, as they were known those days, and it was quite an easy change for me because I had the same coaching staff. The main core of the coaching staff were there. The main core of the franchise were there. So it was really nice. It was, and what the nice thing was that it was cool because they'd almost repaid. Like they gave me that they had so much faith in what I did the year before, which was so nice. And it was nice that that I had an opportunity to play with the same guys because that happens in the IPL. Not everybody gets retained, and people need to realize that you chop and changing teams quite a lot as a player, and it's not by your choice. I mean, there are a few teams that I would never have wanted to leave. So. That's just the reality of it. And for me to have the opportunity to stay with the same coaching staff, yes, it was a different team, but basically the same coaching staff, basically the same franchise. So it was really cool. I had 4 years at Delhi, which I loved, absolutely loved it. The only dull moments I had was when I had to leave halfway because of an injury. I dived in Bangalore, of all places, and did a disc in my back. So perfect timing again. But yeah, that was a great move. Paddy and Raul was such a good partnership together. They understood each other inside and out, and they ran a very, very good franchise. So nice family base. Also, they brought that Rajasthan family base feel to Delhi. So it was very cool, and not the worst place in the world to be, Delhi.
And you formed a good partnership in that team with a number of fast bowlers, especially Zair Khan and so on and so forth. Pat Cummins also came in for a bit. Kagiso Rabada came in a little later. So you guys had a pretty good lineup over there.
Yeah, we were good. I mean, Zach was probably one of the better captains that I've worked on. It's always nice to play under a captain who's a fast bowler because they understand a little bit more. But I think we found an understanding quite early in our relationship when he was captain. We found quite a mixture and understanding of what I needed as a bowler and how I set my fields and etc. etc. So you get a lot of captains that'll have an idea in their head and will set the field and say, this is what the plans I need you to do. But myself and Zach, we sat down quite early and I said to him, Zach, I've got the ball in my hand. Let me set my field. I know where I'm going. When you're bowling, you set your field and you bowl to your field. Let me do the same. And that was the understanding straight away, and which was quite cool because, when it does sometimes go wrong, and it does go wrong a lot in cricket, the captains will sometimes have to step in and say something. But Zach was very trusting, very believing in my ability of what I wanted to do with the ball, which was also gives you so much confidence as a player because that you've got the trust of the captain and the trust of the team. And as a reason why 2016, 2017 were probably my two best years in the IPL because I just had a captain that was backed me in everything I did, and yeah, it was a good 2 years under Zach.
And also that was a time you came up with one of your best innings ever in the IPL, 82 not out. I was at the ground, and I remember watching it. It was a fantastic innings, and I think probably one of the best innings in a losing cause. And Delhi just lost it by a whisker.
We actually spoke about it the other day in the commentary box. We were talking about it when it was raining, and yeah, it was a good day. That, I mean, it was quite a frustrating day because I can't remember what the scores were, but we didn't really get on with it with the bat, chasing down a total in Delhi. It was a difficult total to chase, but we weren't really getting on with it from what I remember. And I'd made the decision that I was going to go into bat next, no matter what. So when the wicket fell, I put my helmet on and I walked out straight away without the coaches even contemplating anything. I decided, no, I'm out. I'm going, and I'm going to try something here. And look, it doesn't happen often, but it was one of the days where from ball one, the ball came out the middle of the bat. So it was clarity. There was no. Basically, I don't want to use the word there was no game plan, but the reality was that I had to go from ball one and hit as far as I could and consistently because there wasn't much time left in the game. And these things happen. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But when it does work, it looks really cool. And yeah, it's a memory that I won't ever forget because I was nice. I was batting with JP at the time, so we were just cruising along. The crowd was incredible. The opposition were incredible. I mean, Baz McCullum that day smashed us as well. So it was cool to watch. to watch someone smash you around the park. But it was also nice when after the game you get a lot of recognition from and respect from the other players, because it was just a hell of a game of cricket. And yeah, I can tell you, I ran out of steam. I ran out of steam. I'll never forget it. I felt like I had absolutely no power left in my arms after that inning. So yeah, losing by 1 run was tough, but end of the day, you arrived knowing someone had to lose. And what the nicest part was, is it was a hell of a game of cricket that the crowd they got their money's worth that night.
And also, one game that I remember is Kevin Peterson going completely ballistic, looking at the way you were batting 38 runs not out of just 9 balls in IPL 2017. Do you remember that?
Yeah, it was same thing. I mean, we were Sanju. I think Sanju got 100 that game. It was for Delhi against the rising Pune Super Giants or whatever they were called. I can't remember. And yeah, it was a good wicket. It was the ball wasn't turning. Adam Zampa was bowling. He's obviously a world class bowler, but that night the ball wasn't turning. So it just was one of those ones where you could hit through the line and just back your strength and hit it out over the ropes and out the ground. But yeah, it was the same thing. It was just one of those days where you walk in and you had clarity on what you needed to do. You need to get as many runs as you can with the balls that are left, and ball came out the middle. Just that's just one of those things. I mean, it doesn't often happen as a tail ender or a lower order batter when you come out and the ball just comes out the middle straight away. It happens so often where you're slicing one, you miss hitting one, but days like that just happen, and everything you try, everything you're looking for where the ball's going to be just happens to be there on the day. So it was just that was a good day.
As a fast bowler, how difficult is it to bowl on Indian grounds, small grounds, and now with the bats getting so much better in IPL especially? How difficult is it in your view?
It's very difficult. It's you got to have really thick skin when you're a bowler in India. Unfortunately, I always make the joke that crowds don't come to see bowlers take wickets. The crowd comes to see big sixes and big scores. So that's the reality of the game that we're at the moment. Yeah, the wickets are good. The grounds are small. The outfields are quick. So you're up against it straight away as a bowler. But I always felt acceptance was a big word that I use. You got to accept that you're gonna get smashed. I mean, James Hopes was unbelievable at that with Delhi when he came in with Ricky Ponting as bowling coach. He just said straight, but you got to accept that you're gonna get met. That guy that's batting there's not going to try and knock you around the ground. He's going to smash you. So as soon as you accept that you're going to go for runs, now you can figure out how you're going to, first of all, restrict, but prevent it from happening. So there's going to be a day where you're going to go 0 for 50 in 3 overs, and there's going to be another day where you're going to get 3 for 20 in 4 overs, and you're going to bowl better on the day where you went for 50. So, that's just the nature of the beast. But as soon as you accept that you're going to go for runs, then you can try to limit the damage and work from there. So, look, I think the goalposts have moved in terms of what a good economy rate is for a bowler in T20 cricket, specifically in IPL. I think that has moved obviously substantially higher. But end of the day, the world-class bowlers will always find a way to do it. I mean, Bumrah is the perfect example from this year's IPL. I mean, this is the IPL where the scores have been ridiculously high consistently, and he's just come in and quietly gone at sixes. So it just shows you if you're world class and you can find a way as a bowler. It's just about how you're going to do it. But yeah, thick skin, eh? It's all you got to have. It's a tough gig being a bowler in India.
Was there a particular spell that you remember fondly from the IPL days?
Oh, geez. Sure. There'll be a few that would stand out. I think I bowled a spell for Rajasthan against Kolkata in 2015. We were playing at the CCI, and we needed to beat Kolkata to get in. To get into the playoffs, and we managed to. I think I got 3 or 4 for that game. I can't remember. I think I got 4, and I got some big wickets in that game, so that'll stick out to me. And the magnitude of the win was a special one. I think a spell. There's a few spells for Delhi where my game plans were really good. Came in, bowled quickly and bowled exactly where. And sometimes the ball goes where it wants, and sometimes it doesn't. But there's quite a few. I was always a big believer in, and then you're gonna laugh at me. I mean, not people say it, but I wasn't a big believer in personal performances. I was just end of the day, yeah, I bowled well or I bowled badly, but did we win? That's all that matters to me. So to say that there was one that stuck out, I think the special one was that one that like I just mentioned for Rajasthan because of the magnitude of where it took us in terms of in the tournament. So that one will stick with me. And yeah, there were quite a few special wickets that I would probably think of that I quite enjoyed. But yeah, that spell probably sticks out the most for me.
And then you took up the toughest challenge in cricket right now to be a bowler for a franchise at a ground called Chinnaswamy Stadium?
Well, I mean, look, I didn't bowl at the Chinnaswamy. We were in
Oh
the
yeah, we were in the COVID. Yeah, you were in
COVID
COVID, but I'm
bubble.
saying that technically speaking, you were part of that franchise.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Look,
yeah.
I was bitterly disappointed and upset when I got the phone call to say that I'm not being retained from RCB because unfortunately, the reality was of a COVID bubble is that you're going into a tournament where you haven't been playing cricket, so the body's not bowling fit. And in South Africa, they were very strict in terms of where you could go during the restriction. So bowling became a little bit of an issue in terms of getting my loads up. So when I got to Dubai, I mean, I pushed myself as hard as I could to get myself match fit. And yes, it's 4 overs, but there's a difference between bowling fit and match intensity fitness and batting. I mean, batting was ridiculous. You couldn't bat anywhere in South Africa. So I pulled a little bit of a side in one of the practices before the IPL started. So I missed the first 4 games and then got into it, cracked on beautifully, got into it, and then eventually fatigue took over and pulled up with a quad. But look, we got close again as a franchise with RCB. We got close to getting to those. First of all, I can't remember if we got to the playoffs or just missed the playoffs, but we got so close again. You know, it was a difficult time for everybody as a cricketer. That COVID bubble period, because it was just so unheard of and unknown for a sportsman to be stuck in a hotel, not being able to be active, not being able to move around, and you know, it was a difficult period, like I say, for everybody. And you know, the reality was is that my body just wasn't ready for it, and body wasn't fit enough to compete for the whole tournament. And you know, you always feel like you're letting a franchise down when they put their faith in you, they buy you at an auction, and you did come in and perform and you pull up injured. But you know, that's the nature of the beast, unfortunately. So like I said, I was a bit disappointed that I wasn't retained, because I felt that I had a lot of unfinished business that I wanted to almost right the wrongs from the past in terms of what I potentially could have offered more in Dubai. But nature of the beast. But like I say, I absolutely love playing for that franchise. It was a great franchise to be part of. I mean, Virat and the crew, everybody behind them, was just a well run and a well-oiled machine that, and obviously after the last night's victory, I'm really pulling for the boys to go all the way. I mean, I know they've got 6 on the bounce, but, you know, for a franchise that's been that big and that consistently near the top, you know, you almost want them to win very badly. And I think a lot of people in India are pulling for them. So, yeah, it was, you know, you hate to fall into the category of an RCB team there where the bowlers let the team down, but, you know, that's the nature of the beast. And that's how the cookie crumbles sometimes. You need to crack on and accept the failures.
Final few questions. I just want to know about your final year at Rajasthan Royals. You went back again. The talk was about your the auction, but you did quite well with the ball. And one particular knock against Delhi, 38, 36 not out of just 18, was a match-winning
Oh,
effort.
that was an unbelievably tough year. I'll be honest with you. It was probably my mentally my toughest year as a player in the IPL. Obviously, the first half of the IPL, we were still during COVID when the pandemic was going absolutely crazy all over the world, and it was hitting India very hard, specifically during the IPL. So, Rajasthan, we had a really good first half. I say half because remember they had the COVID break in between because the numbers were just getting too hectic. So we were really good. I think we were lying 4th when the break came. All our internationals were playing nicely. We were doing really well. We had gelled as a team. We were playing some really, really good cricket. And yeah, that game against Delhi was a good one. I remember I played a shot over fine leg of KJ Rabada, and everybody says it was so well calculated because you helped and used the pace. That was self-preservation. That's what that was. That wasn't me backing away, hoping he'd go for the stumps, and he followed me, and all I did was throw my bat at it and got lucky. So that was a nice win, that, because it was an important win for us, because I think we had a feeling that a break was coming. So to get those 2 points that night was important for us and beat a really good Delhi team. I think they lost in the final that year. So they were a really, really good side. So to get over the line against them was nice. But yeah, and then obviously the second half of the IPL, we had to move back to Dubai, you know, and again arriving to do a 10-day quarantine in a hotel where you're not allowed to leave your room is never easy as a sportsman. You can do as many push-ups, as many sit-ups, you can do as many lunges, as many squats. You can try get on a bike, which unfortunately we didn't have in our hotel rooms though on that occasion. So it was so difficult just to keep the body moving and keep going. And as a fast bowler, I think everybody noticed him. I think one of my first game back that we played, I reckon I was the color of the color of my shirt at the time was so pink because I was just sucking gas. You're struggling in Dubai where it's so hot already, and then you're steaming in and nothing's feeling right. My rhythm's off. Nothing felt comfortable, and and then you're playing against a team, the Punjab Kings, or I think they were called that. And we won that game. Kartik Tyagi bowled the best death over ever, but you're running into guys who are trying to smash you all over the place, and you're struggling to get your breath first, and second of all, your rhythm's not good, your pace isn't up, and you're going, this is an odd feeling for me, because every time I've come to the IPL, I've been in rhythm and I've been working. So it was a tough couple of weeks, because a lot of our overseas players, they made the decision not to come because of the COVID restrictions, and we had a completely different squad to what we had before in the first half of the IPL. So it was a really difficult time as a team, but it's a difficult time for me as a player, because it was the first time I actually mentally was really, really struggling with the whole COVID bubble and not playing cricket at home specifically. It was really difficult. So yeah, it was a tough one. But in saying it, we had a really good time as a team. We bonded really well. It was nice to be back with Rajasthan. It's such a well-run organization and franchise, and I firmly believe it's people always say we're not a franchise, we're a family, and that's exactly what Rajasthan were. You feel like you're part of a family, and it just shows you the consistency of their selections in terms of their team, but the consistency of the coaching staff and the staff behind the scenes, and it shows you why they're doing well at the moment in the IPL, because they've just got that core of belief, core of love between everybody else in the squad. And you'll see, I don't think anybody's left Rajasthan going they've had a bad time. So great franchise, great people, great team. Got a lot of love for them, and always will. They're very special and a soft place in my heart, but as every team has. But yeah, the Rajasthan guys were phenomenal, specifically in a tough time.
Do you think, when you look back at your 8 years in IPL, what's the one thing that you've taken away from being part of the IPL? Friendships, knowledge, what is it?
I think you can put them all into one category: friendships, knowledge. I still have to pinch myself that people like that I looked up to growing up, like my heroes, will know who I am in terms of they'll know my name. They won't just call me Chris; they'll call me Maury. Like that's what my mates call me. So the fact that I've been able to create those friendships and first of all, and almost open a lot of doors in terms of avenues to speak to people. In terms of any times, there's never been. I was always a big believer. It takes nothing to be a good person and greet people. So, and that's what people are like. It's I don't think I've really met a really dodgy cricketer in my life in terms of a character. They've always been polite, always been nice. So, it's just to be part of this. If you had to tell an 18-year-old Chris Morris where he would have been, where he's sitting now, and all of that, I probably wouldn't have believed you. So, it's been a life changer. It's been an experience that I don't think I can ever fully wrap my head around and appreciate, because sometimes you do take it for granted when you're going in, when you're cruising around India and you're just getting on with it and you're working. Like now with the commentary, you're just working, you're cracking on, you're watching cricket, you're talking. And sometimes I like to take a step back. I always did it when I played. I'd walk onto a field and to just do a spin and look where I am, just to take it all in and appreciate where I am. So, yeah, it's been a humbling experience to be part of the IPL, because sometimes you don't really grasp the concept of where you are. So for me to sit back and look at the guys that I've met, the guys that I've worked with, the guys that I've played with, the guys that I've had an opportunity to sit down and have a beer with and just talk about rubbish apart from cricket has been really cool. So like I say, it's as a cricket badger and a cricket nuffy, it's just it's an out of this world experience.
Thanks a lot, Maury, for your time, and really appreciate it. I hope you keep coming to India, and hope you become a tax lawyer very soon.
Thanks, Chandresh. I'll never stop coming in here. Thank you, but I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Cheers, bud.
Bye. और ये थे हमारे साथ क्रिस मॉरिस साउथ अफ्रीका से। ऐसे ही और बातें आपके साथ लेके आते रहेंगे इस चैनल पर। चैनल को लाइक कीजिए, शेयर कीजिए, सब्सक्राइब कीजिए और नोटिफिकेशन की बेल बजाइए। गुड बाय।